Hi mga ka-circle! Good evening to everyone. We would like to welcome you all to the part 1 of our Propagate and Radiate free amateur radio operation webinar with the topic of Element 2 Rules and Regulations. It is one of our countless webinars that we will bring you knowledge beyond the horizon and will bring enrichment to your wisdom. The webinar is brought to you by the Radio Engineering Circle. I am Jadi K. Lorzano for India 1 Juliet Alpha Delta, a regular member of Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated. Before the start of this webinar, let me remind everyone to register now through the link or through QR code on your screen. You need to complete the registration and mock exam of the three elements episodes. We highly encourage everyone to listen attentively to the speakers because later at the presentation, we are going to have a mock exam which will be the prerequisite for your certificates. In order to get the certificates, you should be able to pass the mock exam of element 2, 3, and 4. So again po, kailangan po nating i-click or i-open yung link. Kapag naka-phone po kayo, pwede nyo pong i-click yung link na sinend sa comment section at answeran yung form na lalabas. Also, we would like you to and invite you to join our circle, Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated. Just log on to rec.org.ph/join to apply. We are a proud member of Philippine Amateur Radio Association and Federation of Rapid Emergency Telecommunications Team of the Philippines. So, I don't want to, to take much of your time. To start off, our opening remarks will come from a licensed professional electronics engineer, licensed amateur radio operator, and the chairman of Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated, Engineer Gerard P. Tan, Delta Victor 1, Papa Papa Charlie.
Hello, Jadi, and thank you for that warm introduction. Hello, Ka-Circle. Welcome again. We're back to our series of webinar. Take advantage of this opportunity, and I hope that you will learn a lot from our series of distinguished speakers, and likewise also from the topic they will discuss. Starting tonight with, of course, our very own Ka-Circle John, and soon in the next coming weekends. So I hope that starting tonight, you're gonna enjoy, sit back and relax, take this opportunity to ask questions and learn from it. So again, welcome in tonight's activity. Welcome Karek, welcome Ka-Isep, welcome Karet, and all our guests tonight. Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you so much, Chairman Hardy. Ayan, napukang live pa from Manila Bay for the very
Yeah.
encouraging welcome remarks for everyone. Ingat po kayo, sir. Again,
Thank you,
let
Jadi.
me remind you all to register now through the link or QR code on your screen. You need to complete the registration and mock exam of the three elements episode. We highly encourage everybody to listen attentively to the speakers because later after the presentation, we are going to have a mock exam, which will be a prerequisite of your certificates. In order to get the certificate of the course, you should pass the mock exams of element 2, 3, and 4. Our passing rate is approximately 70% of the total score or at least 18 correct answers out of 25 questions. You can only take the elementary mock exams within the day. Please finish the webinar so you can view the mock exam link. Again po, kailangan nyo po maka-18 na tamang sagot out of the 25 questions na makukuha nyo sa feedback form na after the webinar. So I hope everyone's ready because our resource speaker is about to start. He is a current assistant professor at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, an electronic systems team lead at North-South Commuter Railway Extension Project Management Office, a licensed electronics engineer, associate ASEAN engineer, and a first-class radio telephone operator. Let's all welcome a trustee of Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated, Engineer John De La Cruz for Foxtrot 1, Juliet Juliet.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Rec, no, through the president, Engineer Patrick Holipas, and also the chairman, who is, I know where that place is, and very familiar where it is, and Engineer Gerhard Tan, and also with our vice chairman, Engineer Ornan Vicente. So, allow me first to share my screen. So I hope you can hear me. Uh, wait, wait. I need to make it on full screen first. So I hope we have a lot of uh, questions later. No? So yan. So can everyone see my screen? Yan. Okay. So what will I discuss today is introduction to amateur radio and amateur radio rules and regulations. So, by the way, let me introduce myself again. So, I am for Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet, and my handle is John, but my colleagues call me DC. So, I'm John De La Cruz. I'm, I'm an electronics engineer, also an associate ASEAN engineer, Class A amateur radio operator, and first class radio telephone operator. And I'm one of the trustees of the Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated and the former chief compliance officer. Also, I'm the current electronic systems team lead and EM procurement manager for the North South Commuter Railway Extension Project under the Department of Transportation, and working as a part-time lecturer, assistant professorial lecturer 4 of the College of Engineering, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila, and currently an associate member of the Institution of Railway Signal Engineers of UK, and graduated Master of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering at De La Salle University. So before we start, no, I hope those who are currently hearing us or watching us in this webinar are very interested when it comes to amateur radio, or we call it as ham radio, no? Sino ba yung mga personalities na bakit ba hindi naman necessarily na sila yung reason bakit naging sikat ang amateur radio, but sino ba yung mga kilalang tao, no? In the different fields. Ako, there are a lot of people who are ano, kumbaga here in the amateur radio, hindi siya limited lang sa mga tao na bihasa sa electronics or bihasa sa radio engineering and so on. It's open to everyone as long as you're interested. Pero these are some of the personalities that we don't know na amateur radio operator pala sila. No? First is, if you're familiar, syempre yung, yung mga millennials, tsaka yung mga Gen Z, yan, hindi nyo na masyadong kilala. But for those who are kumbaga nasa mga Gen X, ayan. So si Jose Marie Gonzalez, so Delta Uniform 1 Juliet Mike Golf. He is the former congressman of San Juan, the municipality of San Juan before. Then he was also an artist. So kung kilala niyo siya. So uh, yan. He is also a former para president. No? And also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is also an electronics engineer. No? Well, ayun, may mga tagal na electronics engineer. SK, so silent key, because uh, it's not new to everyone that he passed away before. No? So, yan. Then we have, ito, naman, naabutan na natin to. No? Ang dami ng palabas nito sa Channel 2 before, bago mag-shutdown. So, si Tirso Cruz III, or we call him as Pip, no? Doon sa 'di ba, Guy and Pip. So Delta Uniform 1 Papa India Papa, no? So he's an artist. No? Then we also have the Senator Vicente Tito Soto III, also a Senate President, and with the call sign Delta Uniform 1, Victor Shera Tango. Siyempre, kilala naman natin si Tito Soto, our Senate President, and kilala din siya with the VST. No? Then we also have Delta Uniform 1, Mike Zulu, no? Si Bossing Vic Soto, no? Hindi natin expect na ay amateur radio operator. Yes, they are amateur radio operators. Then kung familiar kayo since pakilala ko I'm also in the railway industry. So one of the executives in the railway industry, no, si Sir Jun Magno. He is the general manager of the Philippine National Railways and also he is an active amateur radio operator for India 1 Bravo Echo Echo. And siyempre, sa electronics engineering industry, ah, bihira yung hindi nakakilala dito kay Delta Victor 1 Papa Papa Charlie. So si Engineer Gerhard Tan, the chairman of the Radio Engineering Circle and chairman din siya ng mga various engineering organizations and also I think one of the representatives din natin or one of the active members of the sa Philippine Technological Council and also I think the chairman emeritus of the uh, Young Engineers PTCS. Okay, so yan. Then the former national officer of ISEP, TechGen to be exact, and honorary fellow of the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization. So, sila yung mga kilalang tao. Ano kaya yung nag-push sa kanila para maging amateur radio operator, no? So, let me introduce to you the amateur radio. So, why do we take this seminar? During the face-to-face, no, nung allowed pa yung mga physical activities like this, before you take the amateur radio exam, you have to attend first the seminar, no? So, it's mandated by law. And the reference, no, the NTC Memorandum Circular 6-7-97. So it says that before you take the amateur radio exam, you have to attend an amateur radio seminar or amateur radio orientation seminar. Okay? So ang inaalaw dito yung mga amateur radio clubs. No, pero ang karamihan ng mga orientation seminars is from Philippine Amateur Radio Association, okay, or the PARA. So ano ba reason? Why do we have this seminar? So first, or in a single statement, to clearly understand what amateur radio is all about. So kaya the Radio Engineering Circle is doing this webinar. Okay, for free. Take note for free. And okay, so ano ba yung amateur radio? So it's also known as a ham radio. So bakit kaya ham? Kasi as you can see, so in 1909, tinanong si or there's a reported overhearing an amateur radio transmission. So may comment na say, do you know the fellow who is putting up a news station out your way? I think he is a ham. So ham, so galing sa amateur, no? Ham, no? So yun yung reason bakit may ham radio na tinatawag. So that's amateur radio. So it started with the discovery of wireless communication. So ginawa ni Guglielmo Marconi, no, through his experiment. Okay? Then in the Philippines, ham radio started when the Americans went here. So sila yung nag-introduce sa atin ng amateur radio. Okay? So, well, amateur radio is actually a non-pecuniary hobby. So ibig sabihin, amateur radio is not for business purposes. Kasi we all know radio communication can be used for business. Especially before, no, na two-way radio lang yung way of communicating. No, way back. Siguro matagal na. No? And kaya nagsimula yung amateur radio. So, amateur comes from the word amatore, Italian word, which means for the love of. So, we are doing this for the love of the radio. Okay? Not for business or commercial purposes. Okay? And hams are friendly persons, no? Who love to teach and disseminate the hobby to friends and young people. Okay, so that's amateur radio, no? So amateur radio is technically a hobby, okay? So ano ba yung mga ginagawa sa amateur radio? So isa na dito yung tinatawag natin na DXing or awards hunting. So DX is actually a ano term. It means distance communication, no? And with the right equipment, worldwide communication on the HF bands is regularly or is a regular possibility. So marami tayong nagdi-DX, no? Ah, minsan nga tawag natin DXpedition. Pupunta tayo sa may mga amateur radio operators na pumupunta sa mga locations, madalas mga islands, no? Kasi merong list ng mga mga islands around the world na kapag naka-contact ka ng amateur radio operator doon, so it's an achievement, no? And many DXers like to contact stations on rare islands, no? Maraming rare islands, no? Like yung sa Spratlys, yan. Hindi lang siya politically na pinag-aagawan, but rather it's ano, kumbaga it's an achievement also when you when an amateur radio transmit dun sa Spratlys, no? Tapos marami siyang na-contact from different parts of the world. 'Yun. So, yung picture, itong una, so this is from ano, I think this was in Lubang Island. Nagdi-expedition yung during that time that PUP Radio Engineering Circle. Then yung nasa kabilang side that was Del, 4 Foxtrot 2 Kilo Whiskey Tango, si Tito Hill. Nag-ano na sila, beforehand nagkaroon na sila ng DXpedition sa Kalayaan or sa Spratlys, no? Ayan, nakita nyo, DX0K. Ayan. So, isa yan sa mga activity. Actually, maraming activities ang amateur radio. Especially ito. Yung napaka-importante nito. During emergency and other volunteer services. We all know that during typhoons or earthquake, calamity, minsan nag-fail ang mga communication natin. Like, yung cellular network, yung kahit yung mga telephone lines, apektado yan once na nagkaroon ng mga ng tawag dito, ng mga emergency or mga calamities, no? So in that case, no, ginagamit yung amateur radio as a kumbaga, if all communication fails, amateur radio will not fail. So ang kailangan mo lang is a setup, may transceiver radio ka or base radio, meron kang antenna, meron kang coax, proper na location, most probably nasa mataas, maka-communicate ka sa pinaka or makakapag-broadcast ka sa pinaka, let's say sa pinaka malayo na maaabot nung nung setup, no? And hams are ready to use their radio, no, to provide emergency communication services to their community. So yung unang picture that was in Tacloban, I think that was during the Yolanda, no? Actually after the Yolanda kasi wala talagang means of communication doon. Then the other one dun sa kabila, that was in National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council office in Camp Aguinaldo. Nakikita niyo si Colonel Sadang, Edwin Sadang of PrEP. So bale yung communication diyan since I think if I'm not mistaken yan yung translasyon tsaka yung may bagyo ata. May bagyo somewhere in Visayas or in Mindanao, hindi ko lang maalala. So yun, amateur radio communication was used, no? If all else fail, no? Lalo na pag translasyon, bawal yung pinapatay yung mga cellular network natin, no? So hindi siya ginagamit. So to communicate or to coordinate dun sa mga nasa site, ang ginagamit natin is the amateur radio. Okay? So yun. Then we have this technical experimenting and kit building. Okay? In the as mandated by law, no, only amateur radio operators or licensed amateur radio operators are allowed to do technical experimenting and kit building, no? So, kasi, yung mga amateur radio operators, hindi naman sila necessarily engineers, hindi necessarily technicians. Meron ding mga teachers, may mga scientists. Actually, there are few Class A amateur radio operator na meron tayong mga professors, no? Meron din tayong mga veterinarian, may mga medical doctors, dami. Even ayan, kung nakikita nyo, si Tito Hill, for Foxtrot 2 Kilo Whiskey Tango, so he is actually a nurse, no? Pero mas maalam din siya pagdating sa mga ganitong paggawa ng antena, mga homemade antena. Kasi mahal bumili ng mga bagong antena. So what we can do is apply the principles of antenna or the antenna theory. Tapos we can look for alternative. Like for example, yung nakikita nyo dito, puro PVC pipe lang yan. No? PVC pipe, tapos meron kang conductor sa loob. So, at a proper length, no? Na for sure madidiscuss yan sa pag kayo, element 8, no? Or element 9, parang ganon. So, pwede ka makagawa ng antena at the proper length of the conductor and so on. So, in consideration of those, makakagawa ka at very low cost. So, yun, allowed yun sa technical experimenting. Sa commercial, hindi pwede yun. No? So, yun. Then, we have students also. So, we have the PUP Radio Engineering Circle and actually, meron din si Don Bosco, meron din si UST. Then, we also have retirees. Actually, marami tayong mga retirees dito sa amateur radio. And actually, they want, siyempre, retirees na sila. Ang gusto nga nila sana is mas dumami yung mga kabataan na ma-involve sa amateur radio. Okay. Well, us, no, hindi pa naman kami ganun hindi pa naman kami ganun katanda, pero we are, kumbaga, we are doing these activities or amateur radio activities. Siyempre, with the help of those who are already, kumbaga, bihasa na pagdating sa amateur radio. So, actually, ang dito, hindi lang simpleng antena. We can build as complex as a transmitter, homemade transmitter, no? No, na makakapag na pwede makapag-transmit during, let's say, contest and so on, or maybe an interface between the radio and the computer. So para, let's say, para mas madaling makuha kung anong frequency sa nagta-transmit, sa nag-receive, and so ayun. Then contesting, we have this what we call as the radio sport. Every weekend merong radios or merong contest around the world, no? So nasa iyo na yun kung ano yung sasalihan. Pero there are few contest na sinasalihan talaga, no? Ng karamihan ng mga amateur radio operators, no? And ayun, so they get on air and compete to see who can make the most contacts in a limited period of time. Pero yung contest naman na to is kumbaga building network din, no? Kasi biluin mo, sa contesting pwede kang magkaroon ng contact na if from Philippines may makakapag-contact ka ng Japan or from China or from Thailand na hindi ka gumagamit ng kahit anong digital technology aside from the amateur radio. I mean, aside from the amateur radio setup that you have, mayroon kang antenna, meron kang coax or may cable ka, may radyo ka, then you can transmit as far as those places. If I remember when we joined the contest, hindi ko maalala kung all Asian yun. Merong kumontak na from Europe or dun sa yan. Meron pa isang radio, meron pang isang contest, amateur radio contest. Nakalimutan ko na kung ano. Pero makakapag-contact ka ng sobrang dami, no? Hindi lang sa Pilipinas, but kahit yung mga nakapaligid lang sa Asia, makakapag-contact ka. So, I've experienced that personally, no? So, yun, paramihan ng contacts. Then, we can also talk to astronauts. So, ang mga space stations natin have amateur radio equipment and on board din sa ating, sa mga, let's say sa space station or 'yan, merong mga ano, amateur radio operators diyan na mga astronauts din. So, hams also can use satellites as repeaters in the sky. Yung mga ano, ah, micro satellite or nano satellite, so they have this, what we call as the amateur radio payload. So, puwedeng mag-communicate doon. So, it can be used as a repeater para mas malayo yung ma-contact mo. So, hindi lang siya limited sa antenna capability mo, but rather kung ano yung footprint na tinatawag dun sa ano, dun sa satellite 'no. So, it will be a great help especially when you're communicating on a longer distance or farther distance. So, yun. So, well, we can also talk to astronauts pero ano yan, tamang tantsahan din yan, 'no. Maraming maraming mga amateur radio operators na interested dito 'no, sa pag-contact. Kalimutan ko yung call sign ng ano, ng International Space Station. Pero 'pag once yung footprint nila tumapat sa Pilipinas, 'no, maririnig mo sila or puwede ka ring mag-contact. Then we have the digital communication over the analog, 'no. So, puwede kang ano, mag-transmit ng data via ano, via the analog. Well, technically you can kasi, yun naman yung principle din ni ano, ng cellular network 'no. So, still on the analog, pero digital na yung Pero ito kasi mas ano siya, ma kumbaga hindi mo na kailangan mag-ano, hindi mo na kailangan from one cell site to the other, eh. Ang mangyayari direct contact, kung sino maka-receive. So, technically parang broadcast at a particular frequency tapos, ah, kung sino yung mini-message maririnig din ng iba. Pero kailangan may decoder sila for this one. So, it's ano, it's different from the Morse code 'no, pero kumbaga ito meron kang ano, merong data na ano, merong data ka na tawag dito, tina-type tapos meron kang, ah, parang modem or parang meron kang device, encoder or decoder tapos nakakabit siya dun sa radio mo, dun ah sa transceiver mo. So, yun. Then imo-modulate niya, ta-transmit siya via the analog, okay? So, then we have the slow scan television. I remember this, in one of the, uh, Radio Users PH, convention or seminar. So, tina-try 'tong slow scan television. So, it's a ano, parang you're transmitting images 'no, via a series of tones 'no, via the analog. Pero ang kailangan mo dito is a decoder. Ang ginagawa, let's say you have an amateur radio or meron kang portable radio, tapos merong tina-transmit, naka-broadcast naman 'yan, madalas, tina-transmit na images. Yung tunog niya 'no, it can be decoded as a series of pictures 'no, or it can be decoded as parang magiging line siya ng picture. Tapos once you have this decoder 'no, sa phone or anything na makakapag-decode, you'll realize that there's a picture na nata-transmit due to the series of tones na nata-transmit via the analog. So, 'yan yung slow scan television. It's a good training or it's a good experience din when using this slow scan television. Lalo 'pag ano, yung RS-0 ISS. This is International Space Station. I think Russian side yung ano niya, yung call sign. Then we have the satellite communication as I have mentioned before, so we can use it, no? So these satellites can be used for free by licensed amateur radio operators. Pero 'pag commercial, so yung mga satellite phones, yan medyo mahal yan. Pero sa amateur radio we can use, meron yang amateur payload or amateur radio payload using the frequency na I think, by the FCC, So, ayun, na allowed. Then we also have syempre the Morse code. Yeah, that's one of the important, hindi lang kasi sa voice nag-aano, hindi lang sa voice mas kilala ang amateur radio. Mas kilala sila or mas kilala tayo sa Morse code, no? Well, ah, sa barko ngayon, hindi na masyadong ginagamit yung Morse code. So yung kumbaga yung knowledge ng Morse code hindi na rin ano eh, hindi na rin siya hindi na rin siya ganun tinuturo sa ibang ano, sa ibang let's say sa ano, sa barko or sa tawag dito, sa army. Hindi ko lang alam kung sa ano, sa military tinuturo pa rin yung pag Morse code, no. Pero in amateur radio, it's ano, it's a skill that you have to what you have to gather or garner and so on. So, and it's you know, it's a good thing kasi hindi lang naman siya through this eh. Hindi lang naman siya yung pag-aral ng yung knowledge mo sa Morse code, hindi mo lang siya na-apply only on transmitting via the radio. Kasi minsan, even yun sa light, once you know how to properly use the ano, kumbaga yung on off. Kasi series of on off tones din yung Morse code eh. So or series of dita. So long and short tones correspond or combination of it corresponds to a particular letter. So ganun din, you can use it on flashlight and so on para mapag-transmit ka on a larger ano. So if I'm not mistaken before, ginamit din siya. Hindi ko alam kung ano, may na-hostage before tapos na-broadcast siya via I think via television tas na-pick up. Nalaman yung location nung kung saan kung nasaan yung hostage. Kasi habang nagsasalita siya, yung kindat ng mata niya, it created a ano, is series of ano, parang yung bawat pagbukas at pagsara ng mata niya, it created a code na corresponding to Morse code. Kaya nalaman yung location nung ano, nung kung saan siya na hostage. So hindi ko lang alam kung ano, but that was a story of a ano, of a veteran amateur radio operator, no? So ayun. So it consists of ano, it has the 26 Roman letters, tapos may numbers, punctuation, and prose signs, no? So many consider it to be the language of the amateur radio. Okay? So ano ba yung mga policies when we kasi as we all know, frequency are not ano, kumbaga are owned by the state. Pero with the amateur, ano ba yung mga policies na nag-go-govern? We can freely use the frequencies assigned for amateur. However, we are still guided, no? So ano ba yung policies or rules and regulation that governs the amateur frequency? So ito yung important sa element 2. So we have this that we call as the Act 3846 or the Radio Control Law, one of the oldest law in the Philippines that is still kumbaga enforced. So it was approved on November 11, 1931. I think pre-Commonwealth era. I think civil government of the ano of the United States in the Philippines during that time may governor general pa ata to, if I'm not mistaken. So, yun. So nung panahon na yun, no? Meron ng ano regulation for public and radio communications in the Philippines. This was if I'm not mistaken, this was also based on the US regulation before, no? Kaya nagkaroon ng FCC. And this was already amended, no? By the way, Act 3846 is not limited to amateur. It's all tawag dito? Kumbaga, it applies to all communication, whether amateur, commercial, broadcasting, kahit yung mga yung cellular communication, telecommunication, and so on. This will apply as long as you're actually technically lahat ng communication, no? Kaya yung Act 846 lumabas to as one of the discussions nung nagsara yung ano, I mean nung na nag-expire yung franchise ng ABS-CBN kasi it was still stated in this act that there should be a congressional franchise. So yun. So naging center of discussion tong Act 846. But well, it has already amendments, no? Pero the latest amendment was in 1950. No? Though I think meron pang other, no? Other amendments. Pero ito yung mga notable. Then we also have the Ministry Circular number 87-174 by the Ministry of Transportation and Communication. So yan. So that was the revised amateur radio regulation. Then we also have the Memorandum Circular number 02-03-87 of the National Telecommunication Commission, which is the implementation of the said revised amateur radio regulation, and 0308-2012 MC number 0308-2012, which also revised. I think this is more of the kung ano yung mga scope na exam and so on and so forth. Okay? Then, sino bang ano, kumbaga, sino ba yung nagre-regulate ng amateur radio in the Philippines? Siyempre, we only have one regulatory body for all communication. For all communications, no? We have the NTC, or the National Telecommunications Commission. So, it is the sole body that exercises jurisdiction over the supervision, adjudication, and control over all telecommunication services. So it's a regulatory, quasi-judicial body, no? It's a before it was attached agency to the to DOTC. Tapos nung nawala yung communications, it was an attached agency to DICT. Okay? So, and well, attached agency siya, no? Pero it has its own regulatory functions. And it's the only government agency which grants permits for the use of radio frequency for wireless telephone and telegraph system. Sir, ay meron pa bang telegraph system? Well, we use the Morse code. So, yun yung isa sa mga telegraph systems, no? And radio communication systems, including amateur radio communications and radio broadcasting system. Yung wireless lang naman ang madalas na nire-regulate kasi take note, the frequency is a limited resource and the state has, kumbaga, it's stated in the, tama ba? Stated ba siya sa, sa Constitution? Anyway, so it's the state has the power on giving frequencies to different institutions, no? Even the government, hindi sila kahit na sarili sila, I mean kahit for example PTV4 or yung mga broadcasting na under ng government, they still apply for NTC, no? They still apply for NTC permit kahit na government naman na sila, so pwede lang gamitin anytime. No, it's still the NTC has still its regulatory body or regulatory function. Okay? So, yun po. Then we also have this, kumbaga, meron tayong national, meron din tayong international. Though the international is more of, kumbaga, aligning all the regulations, no? So, we have this ITU, no? Originally, the International Telegraph Union. It's a specialized agency of the United Nations that is responsible for issues that concerns information and communication technologies. So it's the oldest global international organization. If I'm not mistaken, CCITT pa dati, no? Tapos meron pang CCIR. So marami pang doon. Then remember this, when you're going to take the NTC exam, amateur radio exam, madalas tinatanong to, anong region or what ITU region Philippines belong. So we are in ITU Region 3. Naalala ko siya kasi mali ako nung nag-exam ako ng nag-amateur radio exam ako before. Okay? So definition of terms, isa-isay natin. Amateur radio communication, it's a telecommunication by means of radio waves conducted by or among duly authorized amateurs on, take note of this, non-commercial basis. Okay? So lagi natin tatandaan that we are doing this for the love of the hobby. Okay? Then amateur radio service is a radio communication service for the purpose of self-training, intercommunication, and technical investigations carried out by amateurs. Communication among amateur radio operators, not only in the Philippines but also around the world. So technical investigation, yan, nangyayari yan yung mga interferences. Yan, so part din ng amateur radio services natin. Pero take note limited lang tayo dun sa amateur radio frequencies. Okay? And amateur satellite service, the use of space stations on Earth satellites. So, it's a radio communication service. So, kasi si satellite or si International Space Station, meron siyang amateur radio payload. Okay? Then meron din siyang radyo pala pag space station. Pero pag mga micro or nano satellite payload yung meron siya. Then for amateur radio station license, so it's a license, so it's a written authority. Once you have the license, no? So you have the authority to own and operate amateur radio, and it's only issued to qualified person or qualified people who has passed an amateur examination for the period specified. Eh bakit yung iba nagta-transmit ng wala namang lisensya? Actually, it's illegal, no? It's illegal. So kaya as much as possible before we transmit, we should be licensed, or kung kunwari naghihintay pa tayo ng kumbaga to be prepared, we should be guided by an amateur radio by a licensed amateur radio operator. Okay? So parang lang din 'yan. Technically uh, you can drive, no? You can drive without license. Pero pag nagkahulihan, ano ba nangyayari kapag nagkahulihan tas wala kang lisensya? Madalas impound yung sasakyan. Same goes with your amateur radio station. If you are not a licensed amateur radio operator and you're using a radio na yun pa hindi pa licensed, tapos you're utilizing the amateur radio frequency, ano yan? Confiscate yan, no? Kino-confiscate. Madaling malaman, no? Sabi nila dati, madali daw malaman kung merong illegal na amateur radio before, no? Kasi may walang police power si NTC, pero they can call the police para assist sila to confiscate, no? So importante yung magkaroon ng license. Then this is what we call the fixed station. So meron tayong types ng amateur radio station. So we have the fixed station. So ibig sabihin, from the term itself, it's installed at a specified and fixed location. So hindi mo siya pwedeng i-move na madalas unless lilipat ka ng bahay and so on. Well, may process din doon, no? Or kasi once you have that fixed station, may geographical coordinates yun, you apply it with NTC. Nag-move ka from, let's say, from one place to the other, i-apply mo rin siya kay NTC. So, yun po. So, yun yung amateur fixed station. So, yan yung itsura niya. May mga transceiver radio tayo, may amateur radio. Yan, may complete setup. Yan. Anong purpose ng computer? For monitoring. No? May monitor nila kung anong frequency yung may nagtatransmit and so on. So, may mga capabilities kasing ganun. Then we have the amateur mobile station. So, it can be installed on board or on board a vehicle or vessel. So, kahit tawag dito, sa bangka o sa barko. So, it's considered as a mobile station, no? So, lalo na may mga vehicles din na may mga amateurista tayo na merong onboard mobile station, no? So, nakakapag-transmit sila kahit nagda-drive sila, no? So, 'yun. Then ito yung mas maliit, yung portable station. Portable, conveniently carried, no, from one place to another. So, 'yan yung mga portable radio. Yan, nagkalat yung Baofeng na yan. So, paalala lang, Baofeng is not an NTC type approved. Pero ang type approved yung Cygnus. Pwede kayo bumili, pero syempre kailangan license kayo kasi hihingian kayo niyan ng copy ng license, no? At saka bumili lang kayo sa mga authorized dealers. Okay? Kasi technically nagkalat sa Lazada, nagkalat sa Shopee, no? Pero ingat kayo. Kasi mahirap mahuli, mahirap makumpiskahan, at mahirap makasuhan. Okay? So, amateur portable station are used while in motion or during temporary halts. Then we have also repeater stations. These are typically unmanned fixed station wherein ang ginagawa niya, it retransmit, no? Ang purpose ng repeater station is to to have a larger coverage, no? Kasi hindi naman gano'n kalaki yung coverage ng, let's say, uh, base station or fixed station, let's say from Manila, siguro kung medyo malakas at maganda yung setup mo, siguro it can go as far as Bulacan or Pampanga. Pero 'pag may ano ka, well, depende pa sa location mo kung nasa elevated ka or ano. Pero kung meron kang repeater station, mas lalawak yung coverage mo, mas malayo yung maaabot nung transmission mo. Okay? So yung karamihan ng mga amateur radio clubs, meron sila ng sariling repeater station. Okay? Then we have this amateur, ano ba yung tinatawag na amateur operator or ham? No, it's a person interested in radio techniques solely with a personal aim to operate an amateur station without pecuniary interest. Then meron din tayong tinatawag na trustee. So, trustee by license kasi meron kasing depende sa radio club. Meron din kasi yung mga tinatawag na board of trustee. So, board of trustee when it comes to the organization. But this is kumbaga, yung trustee kasi is required by the law na dapat meron kang Class A license for at least 5 years. So, di pa ako qualified doon. I think di pa ako qualified kasi 2018 or 2019 lang ako naging amateur radio operator. Okay? Or Class A, sorry. Class A amateur radio operator. Okay? So, duly appointed by a club or association to supervise and control. Okay? So, at least 5 years. So, yan yung mga trustees natin. So, here in Radio Engineering Circle, yung sa PUP Radio Engineering Circle, si Delta in Manila section, si Delta Uniform 1 Tango Tango. I think he is watching also, no? Si Tito Ben Viloria. So, yan. And we also have the club station license. So, it's different from an individual license, no? An amateur radio operator license. Kasi si club station, so license siya ng club station, transmitting as a club. Iba pa yung transmitting as an individual. Okay? So, madalas ginagamit 'to, especially siyempre, mas maganda kasi na you are not kumbaga 'pag may mga activities yung mga amateur radio operator, madalas 'yan sa mga clubs. Okay? Mga associations, no. REC is one of the authorized club, amateur radio club. So, may sariling call sign ng club, amateur radio club, no. Yan, mayroong mga students, amateur radio club, mayroong mga professionals, amateur radio club. Depende yan eh. Marami na rin, meron din mga reservists na amateur radio club. Meron din ganun. So, iba-iba. And madalas geographically yung geographical yung mga amateur radio club. Like, for example, yung sa San Pablo, hindi ko alam kung DX1, kalimutan ko anong amateur radio. May amateur radio club sa San Pablo, meron din somewhere in Cebu, so on, marami. So, madalas geographical. Pero unlike us, no, Radio Engineering Circle, medyo we're establishing it on a national para magkaroon ng different sections per geographical area or geographical region. Okay, checkpoint number 1. Ito, hindi ko alam kung makikita ko to kasi naka-StreamYard ako. Pero try natin sagutan. So, checkpoint number 1. So, blank is the term for any transmission, emission, and reception of signs, writings, images, and sounds or intelligence of any nature by wire, radio, optical, or other electromagnetic systems. Ano kaya yung sagot? Sige, comment na lang kayo dun sa comment section. Ayan. So, anong sagot? Okay? So, the answer is telecommunication. Okay, mga possible yan. Possible na ganyan yung question dun sa amateur radio exam. Possible lang naman. Okay? Then, what is the government agency that grants permits for the use of radio frequencies? Ayan, narinig mo na agad. There's only one government agency that grants permit. Matik yan. Di mo na pag-iisipan yan. That's the National Telecommunications Commission. Okay? Sige. Muna tayo sa classes. Ano ba yung, meron different classes ng amateur. So, each of the classes has its own privileges and magkakaiba rin yung technical regulation. Especially when it comes to the usage of frequency. So these are the classes of amateur, no? So we have class A, class B, class C, class D. We can enter or pwede tayong pumasok agad as an amateur radio operator as class C once we pass the elements 2, 3, 4. Nadi-discuss ko mamaya ano yung mga elements na kailangan nyo ipasa for exam. Then we have the class D, no? Once you pass the element 2, then you can become a class D. So each amateur class has its own privileges. So punta muna tayo sa frequency band allocation. So by the way, balik tayo. Class D, take note, that's foundation class. Class C is the technician. Class B is the general. And class A is the extra class. Minsan natatanong din kasi yan. Okay? Sa exam. Then we have the frequency band allocation. Yan po yung allocation natin for the amateur radio. We have here the 160 meter. Na bihira naman natin ginagamit yung 160 meter. Pero meron tayong frequency band allocation. We have the 80 meter. So that's 3.5 to 3.9. Then we have the 40 meter. Yan. Sa 40 meter may mga nagtatransmit dyan via HF. Okay? We have the 30 meter, 20 meter, 15 meter, 10 meter, and 6 meter. Then 2 meter, yan yung VHF frequency allocation natin. That's 1144 to 146. So si DC Delta Zulu 1 Romeo Echo Charlie is 144.92. Then si DZ1 PUP is 144.56. Then we have the 70 meter. That's for the UHF. So only I think only few classes are allowed sa Pero only few sa UHF. So that was based on the NTC Memorandum Circular number 02-06-2019. So ito yung mga typical na frequency ranges na ginagamit natin, no? We have the 40 meter, sa 15 meter din, meron din tayo, that's 21 to 21.45 megahertz. Then we have the 2 meter and the 70 centimeter. So, yan. So, kunyari, transmit sa VHF, 2 meter. So, that's between 144 to 146 megahertz. Sa UHF, may mga nagtatransmit naman. Maraming nagtatransmit mga amateur radio operator. Pero minsan kalaban dyan yung mga interfering na non-licensed radio operator. So, medyo hirap tayo doon, no? Pero well, minsan na-mitigate naman. Pero yun yung cause ng interference natin ng pag-transmit especially sa UHF. Napakalaki ng UHF, no? Pero yun nga, may mga illegal na gumagamit. So yan yung mga detailed na ito yung detailed na plan. So yan po yung siguro makikita nyo naman to sa sa NTC website. So yan. Okay. So sabi ko kanina, ang bawat class meron siyang privileges. So ito po yung mga privileges niya. Unang-una sa ano yung station power na pwede. So we start with class D. Si class D, VHF lang siya allowed. 50 watts for fixed station, 10 watts for mobile or portable station. So maliit lang na amount ng power. Then we also have for class C naman. So allowed siya sa HF pero hanggang 200 watts for single sideband suppressed carrier. Then 100 watts for continuous wave. Okay? CW is yung ginagamit sa Morse code, while yung single sideband is ginagamit for voice or for phone. Okay? So pag class C sa HF, pag VHF, UHF allowed na. Before hindi allowed si class C sa UHF, pero due to recent memorandum circular, hindi ko maalala kung ano, pero allowed na si class C sa UHF. Then for class B, VHF, UHF, HF allowed din. So sa HF, mas mataas ng konti or mas mataas yung power na pwede, 500 watts sa CW and 1 kilowatt sa single sideband suppressed carrier. Then sa HF naman, 1 kilowatt, pag class A, 1 kilowatt on continuous wave, tas 2 kilowatt sa SSB. So, pero, pag nag 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt ka kasi, no, medyo isang transmit mo, malaki kaagad yung babayaran mong kuryente. Tapos I think if I'm not mistaken, may mga incidences na tinry yung ganyang 1 kilowatt. Ang nangyari, nagkaroon ng blackout dun sa isang area somewhere, sa province, no? Kasi limited lang din kasi yung power na ano, na kaya ng mga, paano ba, power barges or mga ano, distribution facilities na mga nasa ano, na hindi Meralco, no? Yung iba kaya naman, pero karamihan ng mga ano, hindi talaga kinakaya yan. So, bihira yung 1 kilowatt. Madalas nagta-transmit tayo 100, 200 watts, kahit class A, no? For VHF, UHF, state of the art, hindi naman specified kung ano, basta state of the art na radyo, tas transmitting via VHF or UHF. As long as it's not interfering with others. Ganun lang naman ang ruling lagi. Basta hindi ka nakaka-interfere ng iba. Okay, class number 3. Checkpoint number 3. Who is the class A amateur duly appointed by the board or a club or association to supervise and control the proper use and operation of the fixed station of that association or club? Anyone? So comment lang sa baba. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, what's the answer? You have letter C. Okay, that's Rusty. Take note, ha? Class A, no? Ay, sorry. Oops. So, take note, ha? Pag nag-exam, so, bigyan ko na kayo ng ano. So, class A, no? Class A. At ayaw. Yan. So, class A, ha? Tandaan nyo, class A, tapos, duly appointed by the board. Okay? To supervise and control. So, yun. Tandaan nyo yun. So, that's a trust. Okay. Technical regulation during emergency. So, we are using this emergency channels, kaya hindi pwedeng nagka-transmit dyan or siguro general na kiyaw-kiyawan or general na usapan. So, this is reserved, no, for emergency communication. It's also a general calling frequency for radio telephony. So, 145. Plus and minus 25 kilohertz. So, that's the, kumbaga, upper and lower limit. So, 145 megahertz plus 25 kilohertz. So, mas, kumbaga, meron kang guard band or, yeah, may guard band ka. So, bawal mag-transmit doon. Unless it's an emergency. So, it aims to facilitate the reception of distress call. So, all transmission shall be kept and shall not exceed 1 minute. Kasi 'di ba, magta-transmit ka ng emergency, tagal-tagal, 5 minutes, hindi naman gano'n. So, kaya dito, pina-practice din sa amateur radio yung kumbaga shortest possible transmission, no? Paano mo mata-transmit yung message mo in less than a minute, especially when it's emergency. Or puwede naman puputulin tapos so on. So, if without distress traffic, listen for a reasonable period before transmitting to ensure no distress traffic is taking place. Pero, ayun nga, we don't use 145 or 145.000 megahertz. Okay? So, during times of disaster and national emergencies, ito rin yung ginagamit natin for amateur radio groups. So, ginagamit natin yung ginagamit natin yung 7.095 megahertz saka 144.74 megahertz calling frequency. Calling frequency siya, no? So, can be used, no, aside from the 145. 145 at all times, it should be vacated kasi it's for the emergency calls. So, may mga nakikinig din naman doon. Then we have the 147.500 for the working frequency and 147.575 for alternate frequency. Okay? Labas na to ng amateur radio frequency kasi 144 to 146 megahertz tayo. Pero by the NTC memorandum, amateur radio operators are allowed to use this 147.500 and 147.575 frequency. For civic action groups, so 142 like yung Kabalikat, React, so they can use the 142.200 megahertz and 142.000 for alternate frequency. Then distress signal. Paano natin malalaman kung distress yung call? So sa radio telephony, Mayday spoken 3 times, followed by the call sign, name, location, nature of distress, and kind of assistance. Okay. So Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. So naririnig niyo yan, di ba? History ng Mayday nakalimutan ko na. Pero it's a ano, it's a I think it came from a French um I think French word siya. Let me go back later siguro. So galing siya sa French word meaning help something parang ganun. So kaya pero parang it was translated into an English term na yung Mayday means a distress. Okay? So three times ini-speak yan. Then for radio telegraphy or sa Morse code, we use SOS. So S 3 dots yon, O is tatlong dash, then S ulit tatlong dot. So madaling tandaan. Dot 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 dash 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 dot dot dot. So SOS 'yan. So pag dalawa lang yung dash, SMS 'yon. Okay? Yun yung tunog ng cellphone. Dati yung sa Nokia, pag may nagte-text. So it's a Morse code. Tut, 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 tut. So that's SMS. Okay? SOS. Tut, 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 tut. So that's SOS. No? So yun yung difference. Okay? So followed by the call sign, name, location, nature of distress, and kind of assistance desired. So you have to transmit it in less than 1 minute. Okay? So that's for the distress signal. Then, let's go to the application permits and licenses. So, minimum requirement kapag pag amateur radio ikaw ay gusto maging amateur radio operator, so kailangan Filipino citizen or foreigner from a country providing the same privileges to Filipinos. Ang tawag natin doon ay reciprocity or reciprocal agreement. Tapos for class A, B, and C as at least 12 years old. So may mga bata tayo na amateur radio operator to I think sa Girl Scout or sa Boy Scout may mga amateur radio operator. Pag class D, 9 years old. Pwede na, 9 years old. Makakarinig ng webinar na to, may certificate siya. Then pwede siya mag-take ng class C exam tapos kahit element 2 lang yung i-take. So pwede siya maging class D basta pumasa. So minimum age is 9 years old. But take note, provided that there is an affidavit of parental consent kasi below 18. Okay? And ability to transmit and receive messages in English, Filipino, or any Philippine dialect, Spanish, or Arabic. Or hindi end yan. Kasi pag lahat yan, maski ako hindi ako papasa, no? Hanggang English and Filipino lang ako. Tapos, Spanish, hindi naman ako nakaabot ng Spanish 1 to 4, so hindi na rin ako. Sorry. Hindi rin ako maano sa Spanish. No? Arabic, medyo hindi rin ako Shukran lang yung alam ko. Ayan. So, yun yung requirement. Those are the minimum requirements, okay? So, yun nga, foreigners can take the amateur radio exam as long as the country where they came from allows also Filipinos to become amateur radio operators. Okay? So, yun. That's the reciprocal agreement or reciprocity. So, coverage. Amateur class C. So, ano ba yung kasama sa class B amateur? Ano yung in-exam? So, there are 10 elements, no? For hindi lahat naman yun iti-take mo for hindi yun iti-take mo on a single exam. No? Kasi sandali lang yung exam. Hindi siya ganoon katagal, no? For class C, you have to take element 2. Ito yon, yung webinar na to. Element 3, the fundamentals of electronics and electricity, tsaka yung element 4, which is the amateur radio practice. So, you have to complete the webinar para ma-prepare kayo for the exam. And take note, let's say if a candidate for class C, kasi 'di ba sabi ko nga kanina, the entry level or the entry exam is class C amateur radio exam. Pero in case na pumasa ka sa class sa element 2, tapos nag-fail ka and or sa elementary and or 4, you're still eligible for class D. Okay, take note element 2. Pag bumagsak ka ng element 3 tapos bumagsak ka sa element 2 and 4, walang license 'yon. Pag bumagsak ka ng element 4 pero bumagsak ka ng element 2 and 3, wala ring license. Pero pag bumagsak ka ng element 2, kahit na bumagsak ka sa element 3 and 4, ay class D license ka pa rin. So, 'yon. So, sa next exam, pag mag-upgrade ka from class D to class C, you just take elements 3 and 4. Okay? Kasi pasado ka ng element 2 eh. Hindi mo pwedeng ulitin yung same element na pinasa mo na. For class B, so ito, ano dapat lahat pasado. May ano, mamaya may paano kino-compute yung pasado. So class B, we have the elements 5, 6, and 7. So element 5, signal frequencies and emission. Element 6 is circuit components. Dito pumapasok yung mga resistor, inductors, capacitors. Yan, nandyan yan sa mga circuit components. Ano yung mga tank circuits, na important naman na malaman natin kasi it's necessary for us, lalo na kapag medyo naging hands-on na tayo sa mga technical experimentation or maski dun sa mga repairs, simple repairs ng mga transmitters, kailangan natin ng basic knowledge on those types of circuits. Then element 7, operating procedure, do's and don'ts, no? Yung proper grounding, no? Tapos, may involved din na safety procedures dito sa element 7. So, dapat familiar din tayo dyan. Then, class A is the extra class, highest class sa amateur radio. So, elements 8, 9, and 10 are written. Element 1 is practical. So, element 8, practical circuits, para siyang extension ng circuit components, pero it's more of kung mga combinations na. Yun. Doon na papasok yung mga, ano ba yung mga filters, ganun. May mga ganung question. Then, antenna and transmission lines for element 9. Yan, di-discuss yan. Yun yung sabi ko sa inyo kanina. Element 9 pala yon. So, you can, by the principle of antenna theory, no, you can create your own antenna for transmission. Yung transmission line, yan yung mga coax cable, yung mga two-wired antenna, and so on. Diyan din, dinidiscuss din yung mga balance, unbalance. Di-discuss na lang yun sa element 9. Hindi ko di-discuss dito. Then we have the element 10, yung radio wave propagation. So, di-discuss dyan yung ano ba yung layers ng or yung mga propagation modes. Tapos yung layers ng atmosphere, tapos alin din yung suitable for long distance communication and so on. Yung mga yun, D layer, E layer, F1, F2 layer, tapos naging F lang na layer yon. Yan. Nandiyan yan sa radio wave propagation. It's a good topic. It's a good thing na umabot kayo dito sa element 10. So, kailangan mapasa yan. Then, we have the element 1. So, that's the International Morse Code. Before, sabi ng ating mga veteran amateur radio operators before, dati ang element 1 is sa lahat ng classes. So, even when you take the class C, kailangan may alam ka na sa Morse code kasi may practical exam yung Morse code. Kaya konti lang before yung mga amateur radio operators. So, ngayon binago na. So, sa class A na lang may amateur. Sa class A may amateur. Sa class A na lang may Morse code. So, yun. So, pwede naman. Napag-aaralan naman ng Morse code. To be honest, based on experience, I've studied, kasi I was studying during that time, no? May masters. Tapos din ako, may mga other things din ako like yung sa research project na ginagawa ko. Tapos, I'm about to take the amateur class A exam. No? 1 month before or 2 months before. Kasi nag-file ako eh. Parang sabi, napag-usapan lang namin na, class B kasi ako na, tapos parang gusto nila mag-class A ako. Sige, I'll take the class A challenge. No? So, yung Morse code, ang ginawa ko, kasi listening skills ang kailangan mo sa Morse code. And sabi nga ng mga old man din, mga OM, saka mga YL sa amateur radio na class A, medyo mabagal tong 5 words per minute kasi ang ginagamit talaga is 15 to 30. So, 15 to 30. So, kapag na-involve ka na kaagad sa amateur radio, maganda dire-diretso mo na from class C to class B, tas class B to class A. Kasi 'pag nasanay ka na ng mabilis, mahihirapan ka dito sa element 1 na mabagal. So 'yun. So 'yun yung advice sa akin. So 'yan. So 1 month akong nakikinig ng different combinations ng letters, 'no. Tapos, I'll try to decode it by writing. Tas 'yun, 1 month 'yun, every night, tas every morning. Tsaka dun sa mga time na wala akong ginagawa. Ito yung ginagawa ko nun, nakikinig ako sa mga different combinations tas de-decode ko on my own. Minsan nga nakatambay lang ako dati sa Starbucks, tas may mga kasama ako doon, sila nag-e-ML, ako nakikinig ako. Pero pagkatapos ko makinig, mag-e-ML din ako. Ayan, so ayun, practice lang naman. Yun naman yung key sa element 1. So sa other elements, review and familiarize. Element 1, you have to practice. So, ano 'to, paano yung passing? So average 70, required to pass the written exam provided that a rating of not less than 50% is received for any of the prescribed elements. Applicable din to for commercial radio license exam, yung first class radio telephone operator and so on. So 70%, tapos lahat ng ratings mo not less than 50%. Na-experience ko yan sa commercial. So ang average ko 70. Meron akong dalawang 50 plus, pero not below 50. Tapos meron akong dalawang element na 80 plus. So, nag-average siya ng 70%. Ang galing nga nasakto ng 70%. So, yun po. Yun po yung sa amateur radio exam. So, take note 70% average. Tapos, kailangan wala kang rating na sa kahit anong element na less than 50%. The board exam before was like that. Pero binago na ngayon dapat 70% on each subject. So, yun. Then, for the Morse code, well, 70% yung minimum. Since, I think mas mataas, 3/4. So, 75% ng transmitted text and 1 minute continuous transcription. Tapos, may mga rules pa yan May mga rules pa sa yung mismong testing, dun sa mismong pagdedecodean o yung pagsusulatan mo. Dapat, meron kang dapat yung isang hilera, magkakasunod, na dapat tama, yung mga ganon. Yan, ino-orient naman yun prior sa Pero, yun, as much as possible, matranscribe natin lahat. Para hindi lang siya 3/4 yung gagawin natin. Kasi, may mga rules ng checking Nakalimutan ko na kung paano. Pero yun nga, yung natatandaan ko, dapat merong, kasi 20 words ata yan, or, 20 words, kung di ako nagkakamali. 20 words, tapos, i-decode mo siya, tapos 20 words, 5 words per row. Tapos dapat yung isang row, dapat either of the 4 rows continue or kumbaga tawag dito, makuha mo ng tama. 20 or 25, hindi ko na maalala. Parang ganun, 20 or 25. 25 siguro, para sure kayo. Pero pina-practice ko before, 50 to 100 words per day. 50 to 100 words per day yon. Para kumbaga maging yung tenga mo, mas madali ka na maka-perceive, mas madali mo na ma-decode. So practice lang talaga. Continuous practice, kahit weekends. So meron tayong tinatawag na special candidates, unfortunately. Hindi naman unfortunately. Pero in consideration of the let's say yung mga previous exams na tinake. So we have the registered ECE and the professional electronics engineer. So ganun din yung mga first class radio telephone operators. So meron ding ibang set of elements, iba yung set of elements ng exam nila sa first class radio telephone operator. Me myself, I'm a 1 PHN. Then pag first or second class radio telegraph operator, allowed din to exam. So eligible ka agad sa class B. Class B, tapos element 2 lang. Bakit ganun? Parang unfair naman. Yung ibang, pag hindi ka special candidate, kailangan 2, 3, 4. Element 3 is fundamentals of electronics and electricity. May part na ng exam ng ECE, part na ng exam ng 1 PHN, tsaka part na ng exam ng RTG. If I'm not mistaken, element 1, element 2 ng 1 PHN. So yun yung element 3. Element 4, ang amateur radio I mean yung amateur practice naman, operating procedures and related to it, nandun din yung sa 1 PHN exam, nandun din sa ECE exam. So in consideration lang naman, kaya element 2 na lang yung tinitake. Pero hindi sila, I mean walang special candidate for class A. So lahat naman ng class A dumadaan sa lahat sa element 7, 8 and 9. Sorry, 8, 9 and 10. Tapos nagmo-Morse code din. So me myself, no. Dumaan din ako ng class A, elements 8, 9 and 10 tsaka element 1. Okay. So ngayon pumasa ka na. Let's say pumasa ka na as class C o kaya nag-upgrade ka as class B or nag-upgrade ka as class A or pumasa ka as class D. So you will be issued with a call sign. And this call sign is a distinctive or a unique identification issued by NTC. It consists of numbers and letters. Okay? It's recognized internationally. Kasi the prefix itself identifies on what country you are and what amateur class are you. Okay? So ito yung pattern, PPXSSS. Ano lang yan denote lang na yung PP, that's prefix, ibig sabihin, 2 letters for the prefix. So we have DU, DV, DW, DX, DY, DZ. Tapos meron ding 4F, 4E, 4G, 4H, tsaka 4I. So yun yung commonly ginagamit natin na prefix. Now, we are using the D. Bakit D? Alam niyo yung history niyan. Kaya D yung inassign sa Philippines. Dati we using K kasi since we're under United States. So K yung gamit natin. Then nung naging independent na tayo, we are assigned with the prefix D. D is actually assigned with Germany. Pero kasi D is Deutschland. So, since it was kumbaga natalo yung Germany sa war, so technically they cannot have it. Pero ngayon D na yung gamit nila. Pero iba yung ginagamit nila as second letter. We use DU, DV, DW, DX, DY, DZ. Sila ata ay parang nasa upper or nasa yung mga first letters of the alphabet. Hindi ko kabisado. May DG ata, hindi ko maalala. Pero yon. So, pero ngayon ginagamit na nila yung D as the prefix. So, ngayon gumagamit din tayo ng 4F kasi medyo marami nang gumagamit ng DV tsaka DW. Marami ng amateur radio operators na may call sign. So, naubos na. No? Then we have the district number. So, Philippines is divided into 9 amateur radio districts. Then SSS, the suffix, hindi yan yung SSS na it's just a parang pattern na yung last 3 letters is the suffix. It's actually random. No, yung 2 or 3 letters. Like for example, si Delta Victor 1 Papa Papa Charlie, yan. So that's how it looks. Then we have 4 Foxtrot 1 Sierra Victor Yankee. Yan. So yan, nakikita niyo yung example. Pero mapapansin nyo, bakit ako 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet, ba't dalawa lang? No, these are what we call the vanity call sign, no? So may process pa 'yan. These are the prefixes. Pag class D, DY or 4H. Pag class C, DW or 4G. Pag class B, just to correct, no? And ito gamitin ko na tong just to correct. So it's not 4G din, no? It's it's 4I, 4I. Okay? So 4I siya. Pag class A, DU, 4F, 4E. My former call sign was Delta Victor 1 Lima Foxtrot Bravo. Well, nung class A ako, I was assigned with 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet. So, naging vanity siya. So, yun, 3 letters talaga issued siya ng NTC sequentially. So, 4 Foxtrot 2 Kilo Whiskey Tango, then si 4 Golf 1 Juliet Papa Sierra. Then yung 2 letters, vanity siya. And as per my colleagues sa amateur radio, hindi lang siya sa class A, no? Na meron na rin mga nag-a-apply for sa class B, class C. No? Pero madalas sa class A kayo nakita ng ganito. Si 4 Foxtrot 1 Papa Hotel, si president ng Radio Engineering Circle. Then we have one of our trustees, si OM Brian, Delta Uniform 1, Mike Shera. Okay? So, yan. Pag club naman, they either DX, no? Karamihan talaga DX, no? May yung DX1 AFP. Ayun. 5 rows, 1 row must be all correct. Yan. Thank you, Ma'am Job. Yan. So, DX, then DZ. So, DX, madalas na ginagamit for the, we have DX1 AFP, DX1 PAR. Pero for yung DZ, madalas naman ang gumagamit niyan as of now is yung related sa Radio Engineering Circle. Pero marami pa namang available for DX kaya pwede naman gamitin yung DX. Masikat yung DX as a club as a club prefix, no? Kung gusto niyo magtayo in the near future ng club na you can use the DX. Pwede ring DZ. So yan. The districts, so we have the 9 districts. Well, it's na hindi siya parehas ng districts, hindi siya parehas ng regions natin. So it only has 9 amateur radio districts. So all are governed by the National Telecommunications Commission. Tapos, we have the PARA. That's the mamaya di-discuss ko yung ano yung PARA. That's the National Amateur Radio Organization. Then we have the AYARU. So it's the organization of the National Amateur Radio Organization. So IARU is the International Amateur Radio Union, and we are also under the Region 3 of IARU. So take note ITU Region 3, IARU Region 3 din. So these are the districts. So District 1, so kaya ako si 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet, my district is in District 1, and I'm located in NCR. So yan. District 2 is Region 1 and Region 2, kasama yung CAR. District 3 is Region 3. And District 4, Region 5. Medyo mahirap tandaan, pero sabi ko sa inyo, it requires familiarization. District 5, so we have Region 8. District 6 is Region 6. District 7 is Region 7. Sino ba to? Si Sir Bon. Delta Victor 7 ata siya. Yan. Delta Uniform 7. Yan. So, District 8, that's the Region 9, Region 12, and the Isabela City of Basilan. Then, District 9 is Region 10, Region 11, Region 13, and BARM. So, yan. Yung District 1 to 6, District 1 to 7, medyo madaling tandaan. Yung District 8 at District 9, medyo kailangan maging familiar kayo kung alin yung division niya, especially sa Mindanao. Okay? So, checkpoint number 4. Philippines is under what ITU region? So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's in Region 3. Okay? ITU Region 3, IARU Region 3. What is one of the frequencies of the emergency channel on the 2-meter band? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's letter B, 145 megahertz plus minus 25 kilohertz. Ito. What provinces belong to Amateur Radio District 6? So, District 6 is Region 6. Okay? Region 6. So, alin kaya dyan yung Region 6? So, going back to our, Sibika at Kultura, at saka Geografiya, Kasaysayan at Sibika, when we are in elementary, saka sa Araling Panlipunan in high school or junior high and senior high school. No? So, alin kaya dyan? It's letter C. So, Iloilo, Negros Occidental, and Capiz are located in Region 6, which is under the District 6. Alright? Okay. Ayan. Next. This is how the amateur radio operator license look like. No? Yan po. Ay, nakalagay yung lumang address ko yan. So, yan. I'm 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet. Uy, mag-expire. Ay, nag-expire na pala to. So, kailangan ko na pala mag-renew. So, 1 month, no, ma'am? 1 month para hindi ako magbayad ng surcharge. Ayan. So, I have to renew na pala. Nawala sa isip ko. Ayan. Anyway, I think there was a memorandum na all licenses are extended. Hindi ko na matandaan kung hanggang kailan yung extension, pero I have to renew. Malapit lang naman yung NTC dito sa amin. So, yan. So, yan yung itsura ng isang NTC license. Then the effectivity, minimum of 1 year with the expiration date falling on the licensee's birthday. Maximum is 3 years. Okay? And lifetime or permanent RSL is valid for the lifetime of the licensee. And yung requirement nito medyo, hindi naman ganun kahirap, pero kumbaga, medyo, once you have this permanent RSL, so, ano yun eh, if I'm not mistaken, parang ine-endorse pa yan. No? Yan. So, pero technically, lahat ng license is falls on on the birthday. So parang driver's license, parang PRC license, so lahat naman sila ay nagfo-fall on the licensee's birthday. Okay, scope of authority or scope and authority of the license, to install, own or operate the authorized equipment. So take note na yung asterisk, equipment should be registered. So that's for an amateur fixed mobile and or portable radio station in the appropriate frequency bands on a non-interference basis. Hindi pwedeng transmit ka lang transmit pero nakakasagap or nakakapag-interfere ka na pala ng ibang frequency kahit within the amateur radio band, no? Minsan hindi natin namamalayan dahil yung kumbaga sa transmission natin, we're considering also yung most probably yung bandwidth na ginagamit natin. Naka-interfere na pala ng ibang ng ibang radio station na nagta-transmit din. So it should be always on non-interference basis or NIB. Kasi in one of my works din sa DOTR, so medyo may involvement din kami with NTC. So yan yung nasa letter. It's always on a non-interference basis. Okay? So hindi pwedeng transmit ka ng transmit. Hindi, authorize ako kasi may license ako. I can transmit here. So wala akong pakialam na. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Dapat you have to consider kung nakaka-interfere ka o hindi. Okay? Sige, checkpoint number 7. Di ko pa ito na-discuss pero it might come out on the exam. How many days before expiration should the application for renewal for the amateur license be filed? So, pwede ka na mag-file within or at least 30 days before. That is 1 month. No? Siyempre, consider din na baka mamaya 30 days before your birthday ay weekend. No? Pero at least naman, at least. Okay? Sige. Yan. The operator's license. So, pag nag-expire ang license, you can renew. No? You have to renew pala. Like me, I have to renew. So, a license expired for less than 2 years may be renewed upon filing of the renewal application and payment of arrears and surcharges equal to 100% of the license fee for every year or a fraction of a year that the license has expired. So, gaya ko, kailangan ko na magbayad din ng arrears. No? Kung magre-renew ako na kumbaga, normal, during the normal days. No? Kasi ngayon, nag-issue ng memo si NTC na still valid pa rin. Extended yung validity. Okay? So, yan. You have to pay. Take note 100% of the license fee for every year or kahit fraction of a year. You have to pay the whole year na kaagad. Okay? Then, a license expired for more than 2 years but less than 5 years shall be renewed, same as for less than 2 years, but there's a possibility that you may be assigned with a different call sign. Nagpo-pull out yung mga call sign na hindi nare-renew. So, si NTC, meron siyang database, huwag kayong mag-alala. So, nade-determine nila kung yung call sign na to nare-renew ba o hindi. So, kung ako, hindi ako mag-renew after 5 years na malabo naman mangyari, kasi papagalitan ako. So, pag dumagpas ako or ng 2 years, pero hindi ako umabot ng 5 years, no? So, I might be assigned. So, kung hindi na siya available. Pero kung available pa, di swerte. No? Then, pag more than 5 years, same as previous, pero you need to attend a seminar on current radio laws and ethics. Most probably another element to seminar. Pero kasi bihira naman nagpapaseminar ng element 2 lang. So, kailangan complete mo yung series. Just like what we're doing in Radio Engineering Circle. Okay? So, checkpoint number 8. Let's say, you're a Class C amateur radio operator. Tapos nag-renew ka ng license mo. Pero, 14 months expired. No? So, and the prescribed license fee is 144. So, how much shall he paid for the NTC for his radio station license renewal, excluding the filing fee? Ayan. May separate kasi na filing fee. Hindi ko lang kabisado kung magkano. Pero, yon. So, magkano kaya yung babayaran niya? So, take note ha, 14 months. So, technically, that's 12 months plus 2 months ng succeed ng next year. So, technically, that's 2 years na ang counting. So, 2 years na arrear plus 3 years, no? So, sulat na natin dito. Nag-enjoy ako dito sa ano eh. So meron kang, saan ba yun? Yan. So, 3 years for renewal. So, that's 144 times 3. So, magkano to? Wala akong calculator. Yan. So, one, yan. So, compute natin. So, that will be 144 times 3. So, that's 432 pesos. Okay? 432. Then, meron kang 14 months. So, 14 months. So, technically, 1 year and 2 months. Ang sabi, for a fraction of a year, that's considered as 1 year. So, technically, 2 years na yon. Okay? 2 years na arrear. Okay? So, that's equal to 144 times 2. That's equal to 288. So, magkano yan ngayon? So, simple math problem, kayang-kaya ng calculator. So, that is 720. The answer is 720. Okay? Para tayong parang review class to ng eh. Ayan. Parang review class. Ayan. Ayan. Thank you, Ma'am Job. Nag-message si Ma'am Job sa akin. Thank you po for watching the webinar and for supervising us. Renewal of license. So, you need this proof of amateur activity, DXing, technical experimentation, copy na endorsement from an amateur radio club, and emergency communication in such cases na meron ka emergency communication. You need that as the proof of amateur activity. Merong form, no? Merong form na fini-fill out kapag na proof of amateur activity. Pero madalas ang ginagawa na lang is nag-issue ng proof of amateur activity si amateur radio club where you belong. Okay? So yan. Pirmado yan ng club president. Then for modification, it shall be filed with NTC for upgrading to a higher class, change of name, transfer of location to the fixation, and addition, deletion, or change of transceiver. So any changes. Kasi nakalagay sa license kung meron kang meron kang radyo meron kang radyo na nakalagay sa authorized ka gamitin. Then kunwari mga YL, no? So na nag-upgrade nag-upgrade to XYL or let's say nag-asawa. So, kung gagamitin nila yung surname ng husband nila, they have also to modify their license. No? So, change of name. Then, upgrading to a higher class. So, modification considered as modification yan from class C to class B to class A, or class D to class C. So, they have still to file it. Then, duplicate license in case that your license has been lost, mutilated, or destroyed. So, it shall be reported immediately, no, sa NTC. And surrender the duplicate if the original has been found. Kasi wala naman ng visa yun. So, you just surrender it to NTC. Okay, checkpoint number 9. What general subject is covered by element 3 for class, class examination to? For class C, examination. Kasi sila lang may element 3. So, ano kaya? That's letter C, fundamentals of electronics and electricity. Elements 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4 are for the class C. So, element 3 is the fundamentals of electronics and electricity. Morse code is element 1. Rules and regulation is element 2. Amateur radio practice is element 4. When is a citizen of another country qualified to take the examination and apply for an amateur license here? Okay, question, paano pag naging naturalized Filipino citizen na siya? Siyempre, Filipino citizen na yon, so allowed siya. Pero kung foreigner pa rin siya, or citizen of another country, no, there should be the reciprocal agreement. So when his country extends the same privilege to Filipino nationals as far as examination is concerned. Okay? So hindi enough. Nag-submit ka ng passport, in-endorse ka ng Class A or ng NTC accredited club, pwede na. So you need to have the proof that your country is extending the same privilege. So may ano naman yan, and may law naman for sure sa dun sa country na yon na publish no publicly. Then rules governing operation of amateur stations. So mobile or portable operation, we have to specify if we are outside the district. So for example, I'm going to Nueva Ecija tomorrow and for a day. Then if I'm going to transmit using or if I'm going to transmit uh, na naka-portable ako, I should say 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet Mobile 3. So it specifies that I'm from District 1 but transmitting at District 3. Or 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet Portable 3 or 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet Slant 3 or 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet Stroke 3. So kung pupunta ka naman ng Ilocos, so that's 4 Foxtrot 1 Juliet Juliet Stroke 2. Okay? So you just have to identify. But take note, may limit to ha. May hindi, kung for a day, that's okay. Pero may limit siya. It must not exceed 30 days without NTC authority. Okay? So pag lumagpas ka ng 30 days, kailangan mo na ng NTC authority. Hindi ako familiar dito kasi hindi ko pa naman hindi pa naman ako nag-stay sa isang lugar ng more than 30 days or ng ibang district or more than 30 days, no? So pag lumagpas ka ng 4 months, no? So you need to modify the license. So for example, si Delta Victor 1 Papa Papa Charlie, let's say nag-transfer siya sa Tugigaraw, kailangan niya ma-modify yung license niya after 4 months, no? Or kung for good na siya sa Tugigaraw, so kailangan niya na magpa-modify ng license. Kung available ha, take note ha, kung available yung call sign na yon. For example, DV1 PPC. Pag nag-transfer siya, pa-modify niya, DV2 PPC. Pero ang problema kung hindi na available. So he will be assigned with another call sign. Pwede yung 4I2 PPC kung available. Okay? So, yun. Or kung ano na i-assign ni NTC. Posting of call signs. So, it should be displayed conspicuously. So, immediately visible, no? So, for fixed station at the entrance premises. And of size at least 10 centimeter high. Then, for mobile stations, it should be on windshield or vessel of at least 5.08 centimeter. Yung mga ganito, madalas naman, since si Para meron siyang binibenta ng mga ganito. Upon order kasi kunyari, gusto mo na maging uniform lang itsura, para yung sa fixed station kasi para siyang plate, no, na nakalagay. For portable, sa mobile, sticker. Kapag makakita kayo ng ganito kapag yung kotse meron or amateurista yung nandoon, meron yan ng sticker na nakalagay kasi it needs to be posted, no, yung call sign niya, post yun. Then prohibited actions, operation without valid ROC or RSL. Nako, di pwede nan. Transmission of messages or signals containing music, profane or indecent words, or language commercial messages. Nako, hindi pwede yan. Lalo na yung may kumakanta. hindi pwede yan. No, lalo na yung mga profane or indecent words. So because when we do that, no, we don't become friendly at some point. Kasi well, sometimes kumbaga minsan lang, parang kasanayan or ganun lang. Sabi parang reaction lang, hindi siya totally nangahamon ng away pero it should be avoided, no? Then transmission with false or misleading identification or with the intention to facilitate a criminal act. So bawal din 'yon. Okay. So for example, nag-transmit ka may bagyo, wala naman pala. So it's a prohibited action and you might face some charges. Or on interferences, so either both of you cease operation immediately upon knowing that you are causing harmful interference to any station, and in case of harmful interference, NTC may limit power of station or limit operating hours or suspend the operation until station is fixed or close the station temporarily in the event of continued interference. Pero hindi naman basta-basta magko-close. So there should be kumbaga may due process, no? Before they close the station. So may mga evidences dapat naman. Hindi naman basta-basta nagsasara sa NTC until they say na sige close na 'yan. No, may order na or from the commissioner of NTC. So use of station by another person, so you can use, no, pero hindi for the longest time, okay? So an amateur station of a licensee may be used to transmit by another person kahit walang license, pero dapat merong control or merong direct kumbaga nandoon si amateur radio operator, no? So when the licensee controls directly the entire operation in accordance with the proper amateur practice. Ginagawa 'to ng mga amateur radio club kapag meron silang mga trainee, ganyan, or bagong member na tinuturuan nila how to transmit. So pwede naman, no? Pero siyempre, ang purpose mo hindi ka naman for the longest time, no? Kailangan ano, kumbaga, paano ba? Ah, for the purpose of the training lang siya. Pero siyempre ang goal mo dito dapat magkaroon ka rin ng sarili mong license, okay? Checkpoint number 11, alin kaya dito yung pwede for modification ng NTC ng amateur radio license na pwede i-file kay NTC? Pwede ba yung upgrade? Yes. Yung transfer ng location? Needed. Installation ng additional or change of transmitter transceiver? Kailangan din. So all of the above. By the way, dun sa mga nanonood ng mga amateur radio operator, kung gusto nyong mag-renew, so email first to NTC, NCR. So sa NCR, no walk-ins. Yan, announcement from NTC. Then, what document is issued by NTC? Yan, authorizing possession of a radio transmitter or receiver. Madali na matandaan, pag authorizing possession, permit to possess. Okay? Pag bumili naman, permit to purchase or purchase permit. Okay? So, ngayon, if I'm not mistaken, isa na lang yung form for permit to purchase tsaka permit to possess. Kasi, once you purchase, you will possess it. Hindi ka naman bumili lang tapos saka mo pa i-apply for possess. So, isang filing na lang siya. Okay? Then, amateur radio club. So, amateur radio club, either registered with SEC, merong for a, kumbaga, kapag professional amateur radio club, I mean, professionals yung mga member or hindi sila related with any institution, so it should be registered with SEC. And minimum of 25 licensed amateur members, only duly recognized amateur association may be allowed by NTC to install and operate a fixed station under the supervision of a Class A na club trustee. And they should execute with NTC a memorandum of agreement. Okay, take note of this. No? Pero pag mga student organization, syempre wala namang SEC yan. So, hindi naman sila required magkaroon ng SEC. So, ang ginagawa na lang is there should be an endorsement from the university president or university chancellor. Certification, something, ganun. So, yun yung ayan. 25 words yung sa Morse code pala, then one row is all correct. 18 correct words to pass, provided one row is all correct. Yan. Okay? So, yan. Amateur Radio Organization, the Philippine Amateur Radio Organization is the only recognized national society of amateurs. So, that is under the NTC Memorandum Circular 0308-2012. So, unulit ko lang, 25 licensed amateur member. Yun, nakikita nyo to, yun yung plate, yun yung plate ng fixed station. No? Dapat posted yan conspicuously. Okay? So, syempre, kung meron na kayong amateur radio club, meron din kayong sariling radio station license. So, yan yung itsura niya. So, this was the radio station license of PUP Radio Engineering Circle. No? Yan. So, naka-identify yung geographical location, ano yung class ng station. Class A. Kasi since the amateur radio club has a trustee na class A, so technically, class A din yung station ng amateur. Then, DZ1 PUP. Yan. So, naka-identify yan. Sa likod niyan, nung makikita nyo, naka-identify ko ano yung mga frequency. tsaka kung ano yung mga equipment na allowed. Yan, logbook. Importante na magkaroon ng logbook. So always keep a logbook and it should be recorded in either GMT or UTC or Zulu time. No? So that's the UTC. Okay? Checkpoint number 14. How long must be a radio logbook be kept? So it should be kept 2 years. Take note, radio logbook must be kept. Pero, pag may distress traffic, take note that it should be 5 years. Okay? So pag logbook lang, ordinary logbook, 2 years. Pag with distress, 5 years. Okay? So other information, so familiar kayo with the phonetic alphabet? Q codes. Yan, familiar dapat kayo with the Q codes, no? What else? Yan. So, didiscuss naman yan sa amateur radio operation. Pero you should be familiar, especially QSL, QSO, QTH. Yan, QTH. Tapos, QRZ. No? QRZ, QRZ, use calling me. Then, pag nasa Morse code, yung QRQ, QRS, yan, QRT, QRP, QRO. Yan. Yan naman yung madalas na ginagamit. QSOL, QSO. Yan. So, additional checkpoints. So, what frequency range into meter VHF can be used by amateur in the Philippines? So, madaling tandaan, pag VHF, 2 meter, 144 to 146. Ito. So, DU1XX had transferred his fixed station to Pangasinan and after 4 months had his license modified. What should his new call sign be? So, Pangasinan. Pangasinan is in Region 1. So, it falls on Amateur Radio District 2. So, after 4 months, so he has to modify the license. So, what should be the call sign? So, 4 months na. So, modify niya na. So, matik yan, DU2XX. Okay? So, kung available, always remember if it is available. What document shall a duly accredited amateur club enter into with NTC for the management of its member in the proper use of the amateur frequency bands and prevention of harmful influence? So, ano daw yun? Yung ine-enter ni NTC. That's a memorandum of agreement. Which one below is a valid amateur call sign in the Philippines? So, matik naman yan. May pattern pa tayo dyan. So, Philippines. Yung C, hindi yan Philippines. Okay? Hindi ko rin alam kung valid na call sign yan. Hindi ako familiar sa mga call sign ng other countries. Pero the only valid amateur call sign in the Philippines is in letter D. So, ganyan yung pattern. DW1SAA. Delta Whiskey 1, Sierra Whiskey Alpha. How many days before expiration should the application for renewal of the amateur license be filed? Sabi natin kanina, 30 days. Then for distress call, gano'ng katagal? Walang unli. Okay? Wala nang unli ngayon. Meron na calls and texts. So, unlimited, pero sa distress call, 1 minute lang. Okay? Then, where should the amateur registration license be placed? Lagi, it should be posted on conspicuous place. Okay? Yan. Baguio City is under what amateur radio district? Baguio is located in Cordillera Administrative Region, which is under the Amateur Radio District 2. Okay? So, Region 1, Region 2, tsaka CAR is located in District 2. Who is eligible to use the amateur frequency bands allocated by the rules and regulations governing the amateur radio service in this country? Sino daw ang allowed? Any person over age 12, any person who is Filipino citizen, any person who is a registered transceiver, any person with a registered transceiver, or only duly licensed amateur. So, wala namang iba. Dapat licensed amateur. 25, in the amateur band, what kind of messages should not be transmitted? So, alin dito? Okay? So, commercial and broadcast messages should not be transmitted. Okay? Naintindihan? So, Should there be any questions, so you may email us at radio@rec.org.ph or you may contact this number. Okay? So we would like to invite you to join our club. Okay? So that's all, I think. Thank you very much. And I think we can now open for the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Old Man John, for the informative presentation. If you have any questions to our speaker, please get them ready because we are going to open the Q&A portion in a while. And so, just comment down below. Okay, the floor is now open for your questions to our speaker. If there's something you need to clarify, this is a time for you to ask. I believe this will be very much helpful for the mock exam later. Okay, so paalala ko lang no, while you're asking questions, meron to po tayong form na sasagutan. So, sabi po ni Francis Eudoro, pwede po ba ako magpa-register ng 2 portable radio?
Okay. Question. Bago ko sagutin yan, the first question is if you are already a licensed amateur radio. If yes, kung magpaparegister ka, nakabili ka na ng 2 portable radio. Unfortunately, hindi, before we have this what we call as the, anong tawag dito? Nakalimutan ko yung term na inaalaw na i-register yung inaalaw i-register yung mga portable radio na nabili without the permit to purchase and permit to possess. Kalimutan ko yung term eh. Lagi ko ginagamit yung term na yun eh. Baka mag-PM si Ma'am Job sa akin kung anong tawag doon. Anyway, so yun. Hindi po kayo pwede basta-basta magpa-register. Kasi technically, before you buy or before you have a portable radio, you should have first the permit to purchase and permit to possess. Okay? Ayun,
Ayan, thank
amnesty.
you,
Thank you,
Francis.
Ma'am Job. Amnesty yung tawag doon. Before meron, pero ngayon kasi wala nang amnesty. Well, hindi pa natin
Okay,
alam. Okay.
thank you. So, Sir John, meron pa tayong another question from Liam Will Porteo Cruzado. Papaano po yung mga barangay tanod? Baufeng ang gamit nila. So, pwede sila makasuhan?
I invoke my right against self-incrimination. Pero hindi. Well, by the law, yes. By the law, yes. NTC regulation, I mean the NTC rules and regulation states that you should be licensed, no? Pero kasi yung sa I'm not sure with Baofeng, pero ang Baofeng kasi is not type approved. So kailangan kasi type approved ni NTC bago siya allowed gamitin. So may process pa doon. Pero yung mga barangay tanod na Baofeng, well, kung may RLM license sila hindi pa rin pwede, no? Hindi pa rin pwede. There are only few, kumbaga dapat yung radio is type approved. So, kung may license sila, RLM, makako-confiscate lang yung Baofeng nila. Pero wag mo na sabihin kung saan sila. Mamaya masabi pa tayo kung nasaan. Anyway, yun.
Okay,
So, pwede
thank
sila makasuhan.
you. Thank you, John. Next question from Arman Cucho. Kailan po ang exam ng NTC?
As of now, wala pa rin tayong schedule ng NTC exam, no? As per NTC. Kasi we are still on the community quarantine. So medyo mahirap kasi hindi ko lang sure pero on my point of view medyo mahirap pa mag-administer ng exams. Even not only NTC exams no but also other exams ng PRC license. Ay, meron na pala. Meron na pala, sorry. Meron na daw every Friday, sabi ni Ma'am Job. Okay na pala, meron na palang exam. Pero you should email first to NTC, NCR, no walk-ins. Tapos limited lang daw yung nag-exam. Ay, thank you very much, Ma'am Job. This is a this is a good news to everyone na pwede nang and only sa central office lang. Pwede.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Paano po makuha ang certificate? Sabi ni Carl, Steven. So,
Anong certificate? Oh, baka the organizers will be issuing the certificate. Pero kailangan ata makumpleto niyo yung webinar series kung hindi ako nagkakamali dun sa nabasa.
yeah, that's right.
Ayan.
So, si Rich naman, can we tune or listen to emergency channel?
Yes, you can listen. You can listen. Basta listen lang. Pag transmit, ibang usapan yun. You can listen. As long as you have the radio that can be used.
Ayan, thank you. And next question. Sir John, bakit po ba po si Vaupeng di still nagbebenta ng portable radio sa bansa natin kahit wala pong permit to purchase?
Hindi ko rin alam. Pero kasi available siya sa Lazada at Shopee. Eh, hindi naman nire-require yung permit to purchase tsaka permit to possess kapag bibili ka sa Lazada or Shopee unless mag-allow, kailangan mag-upload ka muna ng permit to purchase or permit to possess. So, yun. Ganun din. Actually, may mga nakikita na ako sa Lazada na Signus, no? Hindi ko rin alam kung bakit. Pero it's not allowed. We should still buy to those authorized dealers. Kasi mga authorized dealers nagbabayad sila ng for permit para maging legitimate sila na nagbebenta ng radyo. So, 'yun. Hindi ko rin alam ba't nagbebenta pa rin sila illegally. So, ayun.
Okay, thank you. Next question natin is from ayan, Abu Haider Mohammed. Pwede po bang malaman if kailangan swab test in order to take NTC exam?
Ayan, sige. Hinihintay ko rin si Ma'am Job kung may sagot sila dito. Kung kailangan pa swab test. Let's get back to this question siguro once we have the answer from our colleagues
Yeah.
and yan,
Sa
ito na. So, ito nag-reply na si Ma'am. Kailangan ng antigen test. So, swab pero hindi RT-PCR. So, rapid antigen test. Yung swab pa rin siya sa ilong pero within the day nakukuha. So, antigen test is required to take the NTP exam.
yeah, thank you for that. Cedric Nunez. Good evening po sir. Kung sakali po ba dalhin ko po pauwi sa Pilipinas ang gamit kong HF radio. Pwede ko po ba i-register sa NTC dito po ako sa Bermuda Triangle, British Island?
Ah, in that case, no, since kung registered yung HF region nyo dun sa, kunyari sa kung saan kayo nanggaling sa British Island, ang mangyayari kasi, dun lang siya allowed. Pero with the case sa NTC, no, magfo-fall kasi siya. Okay. You can apply for permit to import. Okay. So you have to apply for it. Um, Basta as long as it is a type approved, then it will be okay. So apply lang ng permit to import.
Okay, thank you. That's the question from Cedric Nunez. Next is from Ariel Havelana Nopre Jr. When sir ang examination for Class C? So I
Ayan. So
think
as per NTC, it is every Friday. So basta kasi hindi unlike before sa face to face, once you applied basta bago mag Friday masama yung pangalan mo, okay na. Ngayon kasi since we are limited, hindi ka pwedeng pumunta basta sa NTC or sa NTC Central Office. So kailangan mo mag-send ng email first or kailangan mo mag-apply before ka mag-apply. So, kung nasa NCR, I think you can every Friday meron sa central office or class C or kahit upgrade sa class B or class A. Meron. Pero
okay,
yun nga,
thank you.
as per NTC, limited lang talaga yung pwede.
Thank you for that. How Dennis Lumolio Sargiza, Sir John, ano po ba requirements to be an amateur club? Kami, civic radio groups po kami, which is the Recon number 7, Bayawan Chapter, Negros Oriental.
First and foremost, before you, as per dun sa requirements or mandated by the law, para maging amateur radio club kayo, kailangan licensed amateur radio operator at least 25, 'no? Tapos meron din kayo dapat class A na club trustee. Pero kasi, hindi ko sure kasi civic radio group na kayo 'no, tapos you're going to shift to amateur radio club, then yun, you have to follow the requirements. Na
Oh,
kailangan 25 na, licensed amateur radio operator and so on. Okay, for the requirements daw, please visit NTC website or and go to the Citizens Charter. So, yan, pwede naman.
thank
And for
you.
instructions, yun. Okay.
Ayan, thank you. Next question natin from June Marasigan. Good evening, engineer. Paano yung mga commercial like fire rescue? Walang RLM commercial license?
Hindi ko alam kung hindi ko masasagot yan kasi medyo regulatory na yan. Kasi ano, kung wala silang RLM license, technically they are not allowed. Pero hindi ko sure kung anong ano, ah, medyo out of ano 'to, kasi, medyo regulatory yung I mean dapat someone from NTC will answer for this one, 'no. So,
Okay,
'yan.
thank you.
Pero
Let's have
alam
another.
ko, sorry, for fire rescue, hindi naman sa nire-require pero they are encouraged to take the ano, the RLM ano, I mean may RLM seminar, they have to attend the RLM seminar. Tapos they have to hindi ko alam kung may exam yung RLM, pero ang alam ko lang kasi may exam yung 1 page and 2 page and 2 page, yan. Pero for RLM, alam ko ina-apply lang siya. Pero you just check the ano NTC, Citizens Charter. Ano, application lang siya, yun.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Pwede na po ba mag-renew ng amateur license ahead of your due date?
At least 30 days. At least 30 days. Hindi ko pa na-experience yung mag-renew ng ano, ahead of the due date. Siguro kung ano, days before, pwede naman na mag-renew. Sabi naman kanina, at least, I mean, sabi naman sa law or sa regulation, at least 30 days. No? Pero kung mag-upgrade kayo, nangyari na kasi sa akin yan eh. Na, naunang mag, nauna ako mag-upgrade bago mag-expire yung license ko for Class B. So nangyari, nag-modify ako, tapos nag-renew na rin ako. So yun yung nangyari.
Yan. Next natin na question from Onin Esguera. Good evening po. Saan po ang office kung saan pwede mag-exam sa Region 3? Or Manila lang po ang exam?
Yun, ngayon sa central office lang daw yung exam. Before kasi may mga scheduled exam sa lahat ng regions, no? May schedule 'yan before. And it is posted kumbaga annually, fix yung schedule niya. Pero sa central office every Friday. Every Friday.
Okay, another question. Is club or group affiliation still required prior to NTC exam?
No. Puwede naman kahit wala ka munang ano, club affiliation or group affiliation. Pero malaking tulong din kasi na maging member ka na ng club kasi, first and foremost, they will help you, 'no, or they will guide you dun sa NTC exam. Kasi siyempre, 'pag nasa club ka na, ang mga members doon mga licensed amateur radio operators. So, they already have the knowledge on what or they have already the idea on what the exam will be. So, aside from the webinars, pwede ka rin magtanong sa kanila sa mga ano, kasi sa mga ka-members mo dun sa club na ano ba yung lumalabas sa exam, ano ba yung dapat kong paghandaan and so on. So, it's not required but it's encouraged.
And syempre, we encourage you no para maging member ng Delta Zulu 1 Romeo Echo Charlie no kasi we can definitely help you lagi kaming active online even may pandemic inimit namin ng mga members namin. Ayan. So good evening Sir John. I have one base radio and two portable radios branded bought second hand and one brand new purchase. Is it possible to have it registered or licensed?
Bought sa second hand, so sana meron kayong ano, meron siyang permit to purchase and permit to possess. Kapag gano'n kasi, ano nakalimutan ko yung permit na kailangan, na parang ita-transfer mo yung ano, yung ownership or something. Nakalimutan ko yung form or yung permit na needed doon. Pero most probably ano 'to, modification. Kung may license na ha. Kung license na po kayo, always remember that before before anything else kailangan license amateur radio operator po kayo. Okay? Possible to have it registered. As of now, wala po tayong amnesty. So, baka hindi. Kung wala po siyang ano ha, permit to purchase at permit to possess. So, yun po.
Ayan, ilan po ba ang limit ng radio equipment and na pwedeng i-possess ng isang licensed amateur? Thank you po from Wilmer Diaz.
Okay. Ilan? Kung hanggang ilan yung kaya mong bayaran na radyo. So kung kaya mong bumili ng ano, ng mga kasi syempre I mean technically pwede ka naman bumili ng maraming portable pero the purpose of which kung sobrang dami, what's the purpose? Parang well, sa club okay lang na marami. Pero as an individual, no, wala namang limit as long as they are all registered under your name, no, wala namang problema. Wala namang limit. Basta kaya mo bumili ng radyo. Kaya mo rin bumili ng ano, kaya mo i-shoulder yung mga permit fees and related things. So, wala namang problema doon.
Thank you. Si Rich Alog, sabi niya, good PM po. Class B ako pero hindi ako nakapag-renew almost 10 years na. Mag-i-exam na lang ba ako for Class C? Thanks.
Okay, as per discussion a while ago, so kung expired ka na ng more than 5 years, so ang mangyayari, you can renew. So magbabayad ka lang ng arrears, pero you have to take a seminar. So hindi ko sure kung pwede na 'tong seminar na 'to, tong webinar na 'to, mag-issue ng certificate naman for sure. So di ko lang alam kung pwede na 'to for renewal. So, pwede ka naman mag-renew. So, as long as you can pay for the arrears, so 10 years ka na din nakapag-renew from your last due date. Tapos, Class B ka pa rin. Class B. Pero iba na, most probably, baka iba na yung call sign kung hindi na available. Okay? So, yun.
Ayan, from Dennis Calderon. Sir, pag nag-renew ka po ba, kailangan po ba mag-email bago pa pumunta sa NTC? Katulad ko po, wala po akong club, pero Fire and Medic Rescue volunteer po. For Hotel 1, Delta Lima, Whiskey expiration date po, October 13, 2021 po. Salamat po sa sagot. Ayan.
Okay po. As per NTC, so pwede, pero mag-i-email po muna kayo sa NTC NCR. Nasa Citizens Charter yung email nila. So, no walk-ins daw po. So, based on experience, no, you have to submit the filled out forms, tapos yung copy ng license. So, you have to send it to them via email in advance. Tapos, they will process it. They will process it in a sense na pagdating dun sa schedule date mo, you just have to pay, you just have to tapos makukuha mo na makukuha mo na yung license mo.
Sir, bakit po sa amateur band mas preferred ang Q codes kesa sa 10 codes? Sabi ni Carl Jersey Katublas.
Okay, 10 codes kasi is not standardized, no? They have common yung mga 10 codes, yung 10-4, 10-9. Pero kasi for the amateur radio, we use the natural language, no? Hindi na tayo gumamit ng 10 codes. Actually, hindi tayo gumagamit ng 10 codes. So, sa amateur radio, ang purpose mo is to communicate eh. So, for everyone to understand. Kasi pwede kasi kunyari, nagka-transmit ka via HF. Tapos nakapag-usap ka sa hindi Pilipino. Then you use 10 codes, no? Baka mamaya magkaroon ng misunderstanding. Q codes ginagamit siya actually, hindi naman siya totally ginagamit sa phone, no, or sa voice. Ginagamit siya for Morse code. No, para short yung transmission. Hindi ka na nagta-transmit ng sobrang haba. So pag identified na QRQ, QRS, QSL, so na-adapt lang din siya na ginagamit na rin siya sa voice.
Ayan, last 3 questions na lang tayo. Another question from John Anthony Jam Mantilla. Good evening po. For part po ba ng District 1 ang Puerto Princesa, Palawan? May idea po kayo na active club sa Puerto Princesa, Palawan? Thanks po.
Okay. Wala akong idea pero baka meron naman siguro. Meron naman sigurong ano, amateur radio club and I think if I'm not mistaken District 1 pa rin sila since part sila ng Mimaropa. So District 1 pa rin ang Palawan.
Yeah, pero kung wala po kayong mahanap, definitely you're welcome sa Delta Zulu 1, Romeo Echo Charlie. Napakalawak ng ating reach, no? Meron tayong members from Luzon to Mindanao. Kaya if interested po kayo na makahanap ng group na makakatulong sa inyo, join our club. Ayan. Thank you. Last two question. Sir Jan, bakit po merong mga 4F1 Class A pasimuno pa sa pangjajam? Di po ba pwedeng maalisan ng license yung jammer na yon kahit gumagamit siya ng ibang tao para mag-jam?
Okay. Since si NTC sa quasi-judicial, so technically meron siyang ano, ano ba? May quasi-judicial function siya. So, in every procedure that you need, every procedure, every process na kailangan ng due process. So, there should be evidence and so on para masabi natin na pwede siya maalisan ng ano. Kasi hindi ka naman pwedeng basta magtanggal eh. Kasi pwedeng, technically, pwede mo ano, pwedeng once na natanggalan ng ano ng license, no? Pwede pa rin niya iakyat yun eh. Let's say pwede niya iakyat sa Supreme Court or whatsoever. So, gano'n yung mangyayari. So, bago mag-desisyon naman si NTC related to it, kailangan ano, may evidences and so on. Kahit na sasabihin mo, "Oh, sige ginamit niya yung ibang tao para mag-jam." Pero what's the proof na tao niya yon at what's the proof na siya talaga yung yung siya talaga yung need or siya talaga yung nag-utos na mag-jam. So, it's a little bit of a ano, it's a little bit of a judicial in nature. So, para siyang court case. So, it needs evidence. It needs a lot of evidence before sabihin na matanggalan yung mga jammer na 4F1 or kung yun man yung sinasabi ni Sir Jonathan, I think, Jonathan. Ayan.
And our last question from Jappy San. Most mobile radio ngayon ay more than 50 watts na like ICOM IC2200H or IC2300H. Pwede pa ba sa Class D na gumamit nun?
I'm not sure, pero I think based on the regulation, hindi. So, dapat Class C. Pero, um, I think, no, 50 watts is, wait, let me check back the, ano, dun sa requirement or dun sa power requirement ni, ano, 50 watts is for fixed station. So, pero pag portable, that's only 10 watts.
Hmm?
So, yung IC, wait lang, yung IC22, hindi na ako familiar sa mga radyo, na ba yan? Ayan. So technically it's ano, pwede siyang fixed station. So I think pwede naman for Class D. Pero to prevent further ano, mas maganda siguro mag-upgrade na kayo ng Class C.
Ayan. So may pahabol pa na dalawang question daw. Ayan. Next is from Reginald Laguna. Gaano po ba katagal yung mga exams? Clarify ko rin po kung sa Class B Element 2 na lang ang need na i-exam for ECEs or mas okay po na mag-Class A na po agad? Thanks.
Okay, sagutin ko yung first question. Gaano katagal yung exam? Pinakamatagal na yung 2 oras. Actually, 1.5 nga lang eh, for all the elements eh. Tapos, clarify ko rin kung sa Class B Element 2 na lang. Yes, for ECE, Class B Element 2 na lang iti-take. So, mga 30 minutes. Matagal na yung 30 minutes. You cannot take Class A without going to entry-level classes or kunyari, kung sisimula ka sa Class C, so you have to first take the Class C before you proceed with Class B and Class A. Or kung ang entry mo is Class B due to being a special candidate, so from Class B, kailangan Class B ka muna bago ka maging Class A. So yun.
Okay. Based sa presentation kanina, yung license element yung license ECE, elements 2 lang ang need na i-take to become eligible for Class P. Will the rec provide certification or need na i-complete yung lahat ng elements?
To be honest, hindi kailangan ng certification, 'no. Pero well, kailangan I mean, yung certificate for this one ay hindi, sorry, yung certification is for the attendance, 'no. Pero for license ECE, hindi kailangan ng certification from any or ng certificate na umattend ka ng webinar. What ang kailangan lang is, yeah, the license, copy of the license, yun lang. Tapos yung filled out form. Tsaka
Ito,
baka may yung other requirements, check nyo na sa NTC Citizens Charter. So,
ayan,
kailangan
may pinaka-last na talaga
yeah.
na question from James Chong. Sir, ano po difference ng fixed base tsaka fixed station? Yeah.
Um, spelling? Fixed station, ano bang difference ng fixed base at fixed station? Wala naman, di ba? Kasi di ba, the term itself fixed. So, ibig sabihin, a fixed station, nandun yung setup mo. Pag fixed base, hindi ko alam how do you define a fixed base, pero kung by the term itself fixed, ibig sabihin hindi mo siya mamove from one place. Hindi. Kumbaga, pwede mo siya mamove, pero you have to, kumbaga, the purpose of the fixed station is nandun siya for the longest time. Okay? So, well, di ko alam kung may difference. No? Di ko alam kung may difference yung fixed base sa fixed station. Pero as far as how I understood this, they're not different, yung fixed base sa fixed station.
Nako, lagot ka sa mama mo, James. Ah. Anyway, that's all, no? Thank you, Sir John. And any last message sa atin, mga nanonood ngayon?
Ayun. So, hindi mo kailangan maging engineer, hindi mo kailangan maging technology-oriented. As long as you have this passion for the amateur radio, you have this, kumbaga, you have this passion to communicate, no, and to be friends with other an amateur radio operator and so on. Um, that can be or you can use it para maging amateur radio operator. And we need a lot of amateur radio operators, to be honest, no? Kasi yun nga, marami ng mga uh, silent key na amateur radio operators. So in order for us to continue this activities, or in order for us to continue um, uh, this set of activities or this engagements, so we need a lot more of this kumbaga, we need a lot more amateur radio operators, especially the young ones, no. So again, hindi siya limited kahit nga high school or senior high school students. Actually, Jadi, you can invite your students, no, sa actually I can also
Ayan.
invite your
Welcome na welcome kayo to be part of Radio Engineering Circle. Lalo na yung mga wala pang club na nakita lang tong webinar, no, at interested na maging amateur radio operator, just message our Facebook page and we will help you. Thank you very much, John, for this wonderful uh, presentation. On behalf of Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated, we would like to thank our chairman for joining us this evening and allotting time for us to impart his knowledge about amateur radio practice. We sincerely appreciate you. Again, don't leave yet. Wait for the link to the mock exam. Also, we invite everyone to be a member of Radio Engineering Circle. Just follow the instructions on your screens. I mentioned earlier that this is a three-part series for the Class C or for the Class C. So watch out the next episodes to be posted on our Facebook page. Just like and follow our page facebook.com/rec.org.ph. Also, we would like to invite you to join our circle, the Radio Engineering Circle Incorporated. Just log on to rec.org.ph/join to apply. We are a proud member of Philippine Amateur Radio Association and Federation of Rapid Emergency Telecommunications Team of the Philippines. Okay, to give us the closing remarks, may we call on the president of the Radio Engineering Circle, Engineer Patrick Georgian Hulipas.
Hello, good evening everyone. Take hello. Ayan, sorry. Ayan, good evening everyone. So, thank you for attending our event this evening and I hope nag-enjoy kayo sa mga tinurong topics ni Engineer John De La Cruz. And sana makasama pa namin kayo sa mga susunod na 5 linggo ng Radio Engineering Circle. Meron tayong uh, event no sa May 29, then until June 19 pa tayo. Magkakasama tayo sa mga fundamentals of electronics and electricity, amateur radio practice, signals and emission, operating procedures, and practical circuits. So, para magkaroon kayo ng certificate, kailangan yung mag-exam sa Element 3 and Element 4 for the Class C certificate. Then, sa Class B naman is June 5, June 12, June 19 for the Class B certificate. So yung Class B naman, hindi naman kailangan ng certificate doon para mapag-take ng exam. Kailangan mo ng Class C license. But basically, kailangan, syempre, mas maganda no, na makakollect nyo yung mga certificate from REC. Ayun lang, maraming salamat sa umattend and I hope na natuto kayo sa mga tinuro ng ating resource speaker na si 4F1JJ. Yun lang, maraming salamat.
Ayan, again, thank you everyone for attending today's webinar.